and good morning to our Latin American and American friends. I'm so glad to host this fourth edition of ABWCI Dialogue. As you know, ABWCI is a virtual global chamber of commerce for women working towards social and economic empowerment of women entrepreneurs. And why entrepreneurs are important for us, you all know that we want them to be wealth creators, not employees. And that's a difference which we want to make a difference, and we want to create the difference in life. Our mission is to establish a collaborative ecosystem to engage, network, identify, and leverage market opportunities globally. Our vision is to nurture and provide an enabling environment for women in business to build a sustainable and better future. Today, as we started a few years back, we are today in 22 countries, and very soon by next week, we'll be adding 2 more countries, and we will be in 24 countries as such. Now about the dialogue, why the dialogue, ABWCI dialogue is important, because not only you want to know about the leader's life, what they are leading, the challenges, the success. So we had created, and we have created a chat series to create a productive space that invites key stakeholders of the ecosystem to join and listen to women in business and industry experts talking about their ideas, journeys, experience, and the challenges, because sometimes you feel the women entrepreneurs are successful, but what is going behind their lives, you want to know. And that's what the whole mystery is all about. So today we have, a very prominent leader from Pakistan, and Tara, who has joined us, and I'll talk about her in a bit. But I just wanted to also let you know that our basic focus of ABWCI is to help on 4 big challenges faced by women, such as access to market, access to finance, access to technology, and access to entrepreneurial ecosystem. Now, this conversation will aim to create an environment addressing these challenges to get deeper insights into a speaker's entrepreneurial journey and their key takeaways. Our guest today, is Tara Daud, is the CEO and founder of 786 Investments, one of the Pakistan's premier asset management companies. She's also currently sits on the boards of Pakistan State Oil, where she chairs the Audit, HR, and IT Innovation Committee of Pakistan Refinery Limited. And also, I can tell you that also she runs a ladies fund, very prominent. And I'm very glad and delighted to have Tara with us as our speaker. And I know Tara from last now more than 12 years. And I'm very happy, Tara, for you to join this conversation today, and a very candid one. So it's an open forum. It's an open, candid conversation with you. And I'm happy that you took up the role of ABWCI President of Pakistan, and really delighted that I'm speaking to you. So welcome, Tara, to this show and to this dialogue.
Thank you so much, Parul. And for me, it's such an honor to be invited to speak at this dialogue. And as you know, anything you ask of me, and I'm sure most of the other people in your network, no one can say no to you, Parul.
Thank you so much, Tara. This is I think I'm trying to do my sincere effort to uplift, the entire thinking about entrepreneurship, because when I became an entrepreneur, I felt that there is a big need for women to come in this space, and more women should take this role of entrepreneurship and also could be wealth creators. So that was the reason, and I'm really glad that you agreed to be the president of ABWCI in Pakistan, and today you are on the show. So to start the conversation, I want to, when we discussed this with many stakeholders, they all want to know your journey, how you started. You come from a very prominent family of Pakistan. So how you started, how you became an entrepreneur and a businesswoman, and who contributed in your success. So that's what the conversation will start from.
Thank you, Parul. So I just also wanted to add that for those of you in this network, Parul has been talking about this dream for a very long time. This is not, just an overnight network he put together. This is an amazing process. And for me, it's an honor as a watcher, a third party, a friend, to just see this dream grow to 22 countries now, 24 in the next week or so. And so that's quite exciting. As for my own journey, I come, as you mentioned, from a business family. So from birth, practically, my father has instilled in us that there's very few people who are blessed to be job creators. And you talk about wealth creators. He had used the term job creators. And through entrepreneurship, more and more people get that role of being a wealth or job creator. And both that and women's contribution to the economy is very critical, because we all know what a significant part of the population is female.
Yes.
So converting that into wealth creating and also contributors to the economy is a very powerful engine for not just economies, but nations. So that's something I really believe in. So from a little girl, my father always taught us that it is a blessing to be in a position to be a job creator. And that's because our family comes from a background of owning businesses and creating jobs. So that was the mindset we always had. I had my first job, would you believe it, when I was 5. My brother had a paper route. I don't know if you all know what that is. I grew up in Toronto, and you'd go around the neighborhood giving it. And as a wide-eyed little sister who looked up to her big brother, he had me do the work. Yeah. And I think I get a cent or two for the delivery. And he was a very wise businessman, and still is today, and understands the powers of delegation. I learned it the other way by being the one who did the dog's work, literally. And then by 14, I started my first company and, continued to start my own companies. And then I moved to Pakistan when I graduated and joined the family business. And so I've had a very unique experience of not only joining existing businesses, but building businesses and brands from scratch. So, for example, the group family businesses are now in the 3rd generation from my father's side. And Ladies Fund, which Parul had spoken at in Pakistan several years ago, is a brand new project created by us 12 years ago, 13 years ago now. It's the 13th year. Yeah. So that's something that's really exciting, because there is a difference between creating your own brand and carrying on a legacy and amplifying or growing or building upon existing brands. And everything requires growth. So I have the dual pleasure and experience of knowing the side of being a businesswoman, as well as the side of being an entrepreneur. Plus, through Ladies Fund, we've worked with 12,000 women entrepreneurs and youth over the last 13 years. And also have the National Awards for Women. So we work very, very closely with women entrepreneurs, and are soon going to be having a showcase of 30 of them, I believe, with ABWCI under Parul, of course, coming up soon. So my own journey has had both those elements, and my degree's in law. So it's and law is a profession. And so it's very interesting to have training in a profession, have a background of a family business, as well as start your own business. So all those different facets I'm quite hands-on familiar with.
No, very, very glad to know, because, one, you spoke about your journey from when you were a very little girl of 5 and, distributing paper, which is basically the newspaper. I want to candidly talk about it. And then when you were 14, you started your venture. And now, because you graduated from Harvard, so it is really great to see one of our president who's coming from Harvard, so and leading ABWCI Pakistan. My thinking is that it's such a great pleasure to see that how you started 786 investments, and looking at that more than 12,000 women entrepreneurs participating in this fund. So how did you get the idea of 786 investment? Because it's a great idea, because not many people have started a very, very, very gender focused or gender lens investment focused fund.
So basically, it was a venture capital company, Pakistan Venture Capital Limited, co-founded by my family and Asian Development Bank. when I took it over, I felt it was very important to tap into the nascent area of asset management and investment advisory. And it was the first ever CEO in Pakistan's history who was a female in the non-banking financial sector. And in the banking sector, there was the first woman bank president that was a mandated female. So there was literally just me. And in those days, I believe 34 male CEOs and me. So I noticed really, really quickly that it wasn't just the C-level, it was also the clientele. And there was a market share of both women and children. So we created the Ladies Fund and Baby Fund to tap into that market share. And that has been a very, very interesting journey of learning that sort of unfolded. And then the Ladies Fund itself, our asset management company was #1 for 3 years and really on fast growth. And so we gave back as CSR by holding the first ever awards for women in Pakistan's history. Wow. So there were the Satara Awards, which are the presidential awards, which are male, female, gender neutral. And we had the first ever women's awards, first at Mahatma Palace, and now the governor gives them out. And they're cross-sector now, but they began as only entrepreneurship awards initially the first year on March 8, 2008. So what's really interesting about this journey is that it was all unfolding. And then because it became so much of a philanthropy and has so much training, it's now become its own charity under the Out Global Foundation. Amazing. So that is the heart of what Ladies Fund is. It's training, capacity building, nominating to the state bank, loans for women entrepreneurs, and helping them scale up supply chain and so forth. We have the Barak Center, Pakistan's first ever incubation center and co-working space just for women. So in the West, startup that reaches $1 billion is called a unicorn.
Right.
In Islam, and of course in the cultures of Pakistan, but also Morocco and Turkey and the whole Muslim world. Barak is the closest thing to a unicorn, which is a Pegasus, which is a winged horse that is believed in the religion that the Prophet went to the 7 heavens on the speed of Miraj. And it's also believed to be very lucky and to be the speed of light. So our Barak Center by Ladies Fund is top to bottom pink. And the Barak stands for, women unicorns and women Pegasuses. So we call women startups Baraks. And the slogan is watch her fly.
No, I'm so amazed to see your thinking about it. And, when you watch and talk to, I think, prominent women leaders like you, I feel that we are all in very good hands for the future, because when you are working with so many women across the board in Pakistan and also in the entire region, it also shows your strength. And I'm very glad that you're talking about this entire thinking about, what is the way to unicorn, and the thinking about it, that, how you have formulated and the thinking. So just a related question, I don't want to interrupt, but, just a conversation perspective. When you're talking about this incubation center and all that, it is part of the ecosystem, okay? Because it's part of the ecosystem of how we are creating ecosystem for entrepreneurs as such. How do you feel that the ecosystem is developing? Because good to know that you are doing it, but according, as you see others being part of the ecosystem, how you feel that way. So that's more, I want to understand, and the audience today wants to understand.
Of course, and it's a very important question and very relevant to ABWCI. However, just before I answer that question, I just wanted to complete one thought, which was when I was describing the journey of Ladies Fund, although we've been approached by other countries to open up Barak centers there, and we do have some global events which we have had in Toronto, and we're looking to have in Paris and Kuala Lumpur soon. The idea is the global scale element is very complementary to ABWCI, because what you're doing as a chamber of commerce globally is very needed, and it complements this ecosystem. And now when you're asking about how the ecosystem here is developing, it's developing in silos. So you'll often find different people repeating the same work without as much leveraging up. Like we had the first ever awards, now we're in year 13. Now there's I don't know, every week a women's award. There's constantly ones. There's one for media channels and celebrities and government ones to small home bake. Every single person has one. I mean, ours is at a different scale, but the reality is that everything is in silos. And so it's really lovely seeing a global chamber of commerce, which is a space that everyone can sort of come under it. One of the things we've done at Ladies Fund is try to create our awards as an umbrella and have the different up and coming women organizations come under it and vote for some of the women and so forth. Yes. But it's amazing to see the trajectory of ABWCI in that. And I feel it's very complementary to the Pakistani ecosystem, particularly nationwide, because there's chambers of commerce across Pakistan. There can be one in Sialkot, there can be one in Punjab, one in Karachi. So it's really nice for the scale. And when we talk about the ecosystem in Pakistan, there isn't much for true wealth creation. You spoke about the difference between survival. You didn't use the word survival, but wealth creation is what you did use.
Yes.
Still, the majority of people, when they think of upliftment to Pakistan, you would know best when they think of India. Yeah. They always think of giving sewing machines to women.
Yes.
And they say the woman can use a sewing machine, she can earn a living. But they're not actually thinking of training a woman to have 5 people or 10 people or 100 people under her.
I totally agree. And that's what important point we have to put across to our group today is that it's not that we have to have women on petty things in terms of, giving a sewing machine. But the thing is today, if you look at globally, women are driving the huge businesses worldwide. And why are we talking about, I'm saying, and this is an issue here also in the entire South Asia, that we always resonate that, they are doing kadai bunai, which you will understand in Hindi, it's all swing and, and doing the network on this. Yeah. So carry on. But, I totally agree with you.
And so one of the things that's very important to us is we see women with the possibility of big businesses as well. And they are incredible job management as well as business owners. And they're wonderful bosses, I guess is the better way of phrasing it. So we are doing, and now we just are signing the MOU today or tomorrow with the bank for partnering with us for both a tech incubator, home chef incubator, but then working on a fashion incubator. So these are different girl coding incubators. And, so the idea is that there's so much to be done, but at the same time, it's also exhausting. Parul, I know that you make it so glamorous and you look so glamorous, but on the ground, it can be really exhausting because each time you do a project, you then start again. Yes, you're starting from experience, but you have to fundraise again or partner again because all these things for scale cost money, cost time. I think people very often undervalue the amount of contribution time is. So when we do the mentorships, yes, we have speakers who come and they speak for 1 hour and they do a great job or 2 hours and it's incredible mentorship. But from yourself, all the hands-on time you're putting and travel in this organization, it's not a 9-to-5 job.
No, I appreciate you talking about it because not many people understand there's so much of mind space, so much of your really, effort goes in not only talking to people, understanding their needs, network, fundraise, and also getting things done. And when it comes to, putting this jigsaw together, it is difficult. And then that's what I feel that people should appreciate, that a forum like ABWCI can bring so much great impact worldwide because of the reason that we are all, aggregating, as you are talking about Pakistan, aggregating the academia, the incubators, accelerators, and all these into one, because we feel that they should all contribute to a global phenomena and global impact, which is basically talking about how many women will have patents in their name, how many women will have business ownership in their name, and how many women will hold assets or have own assets in their name asset. So I'm going beyond what you're saying, but my thinking is that people like you, Tara, are amazing because you bring in so much of energy in women's lives. So I really hats off to your work in Pakistan.
No, thank you. But each of the women presidents and each of the women in the network and yourself, also, it is not just a mind space as you talked about, but it's a lifestyle
Yeah.
because it doesn't tap on and tap off. And so that's a really, really interesting element that I think people don't speak a lot about.
Yeah.
That, you know, that it is a whole shaping of the ecosystem that's taking place.
No, very, very good. And then related to this, as you are now traveling across, you're talking about Malaysia, you're talking about UAE, all this entire region. Do you see that, this region is being developed or region is developing as an ecosystem? Are we helping each other in nurturing businesses, or are we helping each other? Because there are some prominent businesses in Pakistan which are so relevant in other countries, but they are not cross-border. They're not, cross-fertilization is not happening as such. What is your opinion about that?
Oh, I don't see much of that at all. I mean, there are a few Pakistani fashion brands that have opened in, let's say, Singapore, London, or this or that. But again, they're catering to the expat market. And you're not seeing much cross-fertilization. It's still in silos. So when we are in talks with doing something in Paris, or we've done things in Toronto, we're looking to do things in Kuala Lumpur, it's us beginning from scratch, making that network, making that relationship, and achieving what we are intending to achieve. But if we ask people, is there a setup for this? Is there a system for this? Are there people we can speak about to mentor us to this? There isn't, that I know of at least, and that's where I think an ABWCI is so critical, because now you have someone in all these countries.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me very proud and excited as the president in Pakistan, because not only do I automatically have that network through you,
yes,
but also all our members. And as we're building our board and membership here and hopefully showcasing that soon, it's very exciting for them as well to have a hand to reach out to.
No, that's good. And I always say, whenever I'm speaking all across the world, is that ABWCI president will be your first guardian. And ABWCI president in any country, because how we are developing this, that we will be in 196 countries by 2024. And the thinking is that if you travel across the world, you will have this entire phenomenal journey, phenomenal country presidents who will be basically your first guardian if you're traveling across the world. So this is important, because a lot of people, when they're traveling, they want to know, they want to understand, they want to do business, they want to have a dialogue with real people. And that's important when we are putting this across as such. So I think this is, I feel, is important for us to put that thing. So you feel that this is important, and it will be very, 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 very focused discussion and dialogue has to happen in this. Anything which you feel is missing from the whole ecosystem per se, because one is you're talking about silos. The other is we are talking about the whole issue of funding, or we are talking about technology. We are talking about the entire participation as such. What is your thinking about that?
Well, we have not been able to see many avenues that exist for cross-fertilization funding. One is funding locally, and that, there are pockets through, let's say, the USA, there's pockets through different developmental programs, the World Bank. Over the years, opportunities come a little bit here and there, but there's not a steady stream. There's a SMETA product from USA that comes every 3 months that's for specific SMEs and qualify, and there's very, very much pockets, but there's not pockets that I've seen for cross-fertilization. And there's not pockets for everyone. There certainly isn't easy access to financing.
Yeah.
And often the same people who get financing get it from everywhere.
Yeah. So I think, just to put it in a simple way, you are saying that, there are people who can access, there are people who have no avenues, because people who know, who are in this network, I'm saying, funding also you get through networks. And if you are in the real network, I think it is possible from that perspective as such. If you are not in that network, it will be difficult for people to really get us, from that. What about technology? Because technology is not WhatsApp, technology is not Zoom, technology is how you're building businesses with ed tech. You're talking about agri tech, all the tech which is basically tech enabled businesses. What do you feel? What's happening there?
So overall, there's very few women in agriculture, for example, in Pakistan, let alone agri-tech. And agri-tech, while it's developing, is not at a fast pace. So there is government funding and pockets of funding for agri-tech. So that's one area. You talked about ed tech. Ed tech is a huge billion-dollar industry, as you can imagine. And one of the businesses we're looking to incubate here at Ladies Fund is one exporting tutors using Zoom and technology. Because tuitions from Pakistan are obviously much cheaper than abroad tuitions for your A-level, O-level equivalent, SATs, whatever you want tuitions for. And yet they get paid so much more than tutoring here, and they can do it at their convenience. So technology is being used to help people in the third world, or just to say Pakistan for this purpose, have access to more money for the same service, which I think is fabulous. But the amount of ed tech is minuscule compared to the potential. And that's July 2022. Obviously, that conversation can be different in a while, in the next few months.
No, they're good that you're talking about it, because there is always an opportunity, and there is opportunity cost. So I'm a student of economics. So I always say, what is next best alternative forgone? It's what is this the opportunity or versus the opportunity? And you also spoke about cloud kitchens. You spoke about, how, you are trying to get more women in this business who can supply food, because food is everywhere. In terms of the best food I had in Dubai is basically from the kitchen of Pakistan. So I'm thinking, so there is a lot to offer. So from that perspective, do you feel that there are some marquee businesses or marquee dishes which are also now, women are exporting, because there is this so much technology of compressed and packing, which can be, sold outside. So there are women who you are incubating in your Ladies Fund.
So we are just today or tomorrow, the MOU just appeared on my desk. So we're going to be signing it with the bank for our home chef incubator.
Okay.
And the majority of home chefs came out during COVID.
Okay.
So most are actually not formally trained. They're not cordon bleu chefs, but they started home-baked businesses. And the majority of them are not trained in packaging.
Okay.
So both packaging, sustainability, scaling up, B2B, are things we want to train them on, as well as nominate them for loans to the state bank. Now, why this is critical is because just because someone has a great brand and great food and yummy, tasty food, doesn't mean that they are at the position July 2022 to export that. But however, because there exists amazing packaging, they can be, maybe groomed is not the right word, but they can be positioned to be able to export that. And I mean, for example, I just got as a gift the most amazing tasty laddu. And it was packaged in these branded tins. And, that would be something that would be very easy to export. And easy to give out as gifts. Some other food is perishable. So people have to learn in that. We're actually in talks as well with National Foods. To partner with them for training, not only the home chefs, but in nutrition. And food safety and cleanliness and hygiene. And all of those kind of things. Because just because someone can cook well, they may have been self-taught or family taught or YouTube taught,
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they know the basics of nutrition, perishability, sustainability, packaging, and all those things. I remember one of the first things I ordered from Home Chefs was a 19-year-old girl,
Huh.
cupcakes,
Oh.
and she gave it in the tin, like in
Oh.
the baking tin, because she didn't know how to package it.
Oh my
Now, they were
God.
delicious cupcakes, but you can't, so businesses are at all stages of development.
No, no, I'm so amazed that you are talking about this so, so candidly, because as we are speaking, I'm feeling I should have some laddus for myself, and it's always I have a very sweet tooth, so so maybe we will leave it for the next time when I'll meet you. We'll have laddus and from Pakistan, so it will be great. From My last question to you is, what is your aspiration now? You have achieved what you have done, all that. What is your aspiration now, and how you're taking that?
So this is my nonprofit work we've been discussing. My for-profit work is we're working towards a 200 megawatt wind and solar plant led by women called Ladies Fund Energy in
Wow.
Garo, beginning with
Wow.
50 megawatts. So my for-profit work is women big business led by women, and for this company to be the pipeline of women throughout the region. And what's really interesting is so far, we've never had women live on site in Pakistan. So
Uh-huh.
not only do we have the world's first pink panels and pink turbines, we're also be having women live on site. And we're starting a scholarship program in principle. We're working on that right now, where we'll pay for the bachelor's in engineering on the condition that the female worked 2 years on site. And then
Wow.
she's before the age of 24, 25, she's completed 2 years site experience and is poised to fast track in the sector, not just in Pakistan, but in the region, even in the world, easily.
So that's great. I'm really amazed and surprised to really see that, that's possible. I hope that you do very well. My best wishes, and ABWCI is there globally to back you up. And I hope one day, as I'm trying now to also create a fund of funds in in Singapore, to see that maybe we will be in a position to fund some of your initiatives globally, which can really be successful as such. So thank you, Tara, so much about your candid conversations, talking about from businesses to your not-for-profit to laddus to so much. I really enjoyed the conversation, and what a lovely person you are. As you always are so energized about life, about entrepreneurship, about wealth creation, job creation. So much is happening in your life, and I feel that more power to you and a lot of power to you, so that you become successful, you come out with bright colors, and also see that ABWCI can and will contribute for your success and will bring a lot of network to you as such. Now going forward, in our next episode of ABWCI Dialogue, we have invited two very dynamic women leaders from Malaysia. And so I urge you all to stay tuned, subscribe to all our social media channels for latest update, and also visit us at www.abwci.org, and please register yourself. And I think it will be great for all of you to be there. We create a larger, bigger, impactful world with all of you together. So thank you, Tara, for being a great guest today on this episode of ABWCI Dialogues. I'm signing off and look forward interacting with you more and also meeting you very soon. Thank you, Tara. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Parul, and thank you everyone watching, and of course the team of ABWCI, which has done such a professional job behind the scenes. All the best.